That's crazy. Look at the inception going on right here. She's making a video, doing her makeup, influencing, talking about being an ex-influencer. Crafty. Hustle culture is dying now. People are starting to leave their entrepreneurial or self-employed jobs to go back to the good old 9 to 5. Let's go ahead and see what's going on, man. Video by Patience Zena. People are giving up on hustle culture. I like her videos, man.
Hello, my dears. Remember when the internet made it seem like working a 9 to 5 was the worst thing imaginable? I mean, after all, why would you want to be part of the rat race, working to make someone else rich and living for the weekends? And when you consider all the videos that we were seeing online, it's not that hard to understand why some people develop this perspective.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9 to 5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me forever to get there. I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just like the 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy.
I'm only 2 years into working my 9 to 5 job, and this is awful. So you're telling me I'm having the Sunday scaries every week to dread 5 days of my life?
This is completely backwards right now, but let's see.
To then be rewarded with a little thrill on Friday, but then be so tired from working that I pass out at like 10 p.m. Live for Saturdays, love them, but really that is only one full day of fun, because Sunday, have a great Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon rolls around and I have the Sunday scaries and I'm dreading my life for the next 5 days. I went to college for
the Sunday scaries. I've never heard that phrase before, but I feel that. When I had my corporate job, that's how it was. Like, Sunday didn't even feel like a weekend. Sunday was just a day you're preparing for, Monday and the rest of the week to come up. Friday, you're already working for half that day, a little more than half that day, just to start your Friday. So you have Friday night. And Saturday, you got a full day. You can sleep in. You don't have to wake up early, whatever. You got the day to yourself. But then Sunday comes, it felt like a weekday. And even how I'm trying to treat this whole YouTube thing right now, I'm trying to treat it like that too. I'm trying not to stay up late on weekdays and stuff like that. But yeah, the Sunday scaries, that's real, man. That's real.
4 years to be stuck in this cycle. What? No, 2 years is enough. So I'm on TikTok and I'll be promoting products and posting my way out of this god-awful cycle. I cannot settle for a life of dread.
The internet has glorified self-employment, hustle culture, and entrepreneurship for years, but now we're actually finally starting to see what the aftermath of all of that has been, especially when it comes to influencers. Because to many people, social media seems like the perfect escape to a 9 to 5. I mean, if you ask kids these days what they want to be, many of them will say that they want to be a YouTuber, TikTok star, or some variation of content creator, which, by the way, is highly concerning. We definitely don't need any more influencers, but we do need more doctors, nurses, teachers, please. But the idea that content creation and becoming a social media personality can just whisk you away from all of the problems that come with a normal 9 to 5 is one that a lot of people have bought into. But the truth is, a lot of the time, you're often just trading one set of problems for a different set of problems. And as more and more people are realizing this, we're actually starting to see more and more people returning back to their 9 to 5s. When it comes to influencers in particular, their content relies on them posting about their day-to-day lives. Their personality and their life is the brand. And I guess this is probably why a lot of people assume that the job is carefree and effortless, because I mean, what could be so difficult about simply posting your life, right? But I have started to notice a lot more influencers actually being a lot more open about what the trade-offs of that look like. And one particular trade-off that some have discussed is the massive impact it actually has on their personal relationships.
Naturally, I am very introverted, and I actually think a lot of us content creators are.
We are.
And so over time, it can feel overwhelming because, at least for me, interaction online feels similar to energy in real life. Like, I do feel drained responding to everything online sometimes, or having to show up, because you're still connecting with people at the end of the day, even though it's over the phone. I've noticed it definitely take a toll on on my social battery in other situations.
hot in
Like
here.
sometimes after a day of like interacting with a lot of people online, especially if I have a video that goes viral and I'm like commenting back and forth with people all day, I tend to kind of start neglecting text to my real friends in life because I just don't want to be on my phone anymore. And I also feel like I've just been talking to people all day. Everyone is subject to this, including myself, even though I know exactly the way social media works and that it's not real life. It's really hard for us to distinguish sometimes what's real life and what isn't. For example, I think a lot of us fall into this trap sometimes where someone's not responding to us, but they're posting a story, or they tell you that they're busy, but you see that they've posted something and they're doing some activity. The reality is that could have been a post from who knows when, like weeks, months beforehand. I personally never post in real time, but it feels very rude in that moment. Like it almost feels like, wait, this is what they're doing right now instead of talking to me or
That's a very real point. And I get caught with that too. I get caught up with that because I'll still want to post something. And, you know, me doing YouTube, I have to if I want to be successful at it. And as soon as you get a text message from somebody, then it's like you're trapped. Then you just can't post because they're going to see it and they're going to get their feelings hurt if they see that you posted something after they texted you and you didn't hit them back. I really don't like the concept of that. I don't like the general concept of that. And I get it. I get why, because it is kind of a slap in the face if you see somebody obviously probably saw your text message and just didn't reply to it. But I think we shouldn't have a standard of every time we hit somebody up, they have to reply. I don't see it as a very good thing for a general society to have everybody that you know available and in your pocket at all times. Because back in the day, for you youngsters, there used to be times when people didn't have cell phones. Once, you know, somebody leaves the house and goes to work, you just don't hear from them until they get back home. And unless you call the office and ask to speak to them or something like that, but you can't just call them, especially you can't text them. That wasn't a thing. And guess what? Things were okay. It was fine. But now, if somebody hits you up and you don't reply within like, let's say 30 minutes to a couple hours, then I've seen people get their feelings crushed. They think you hate them. They're like, why didn't you reply? Oh. And it makes a whole problem out of what used to be not even imaginable. So I don't really like that, but I get it. I get why that is. As far as a solution, I don't know. Drop in the comments what you think the solution to that would be. Like, should you just get over it, or should everybody just reply to everybody when they hit them up and we should all just be accessible 100% of the time? I don't know. It's curious. What do y'all think, man?
responding to me or
And I think many people can probably relate to the situation that she's just described. You know, when you're trying to contact a friend and they're not responding to you, but yet you see them posting on their social media story or you see them posting something online. And I think the problem with this when it comes to
I've gotten in my feelings about it too, so I ain't going to just be like that.
creators in particular is that a lot of people forget that as a content creator, you don't experience social media in the same way that everybody else does. Because for most people, social media is leisure. It's what you do in your spare time. It's not a job for you. It's just something that you do for fun. But as a content creator, social media is work. It's your job. And so naturally, because of that, you're still going to sometimes post and make content even when you are socially burnt out and you don't really want to talk to anyone. And so this can understandably create tensions in relationships because you have people thinking you're ignoring you when really no, you're just still showing up to work even when you would rather be anywhere else. And from a friends and family perspective, what you're doing doesn't look like work at all. So it's very easy for people to forget and to just take it the wrong way. And
That's major facts. My family do not believe in this. What are we talking about?
to be fair, because of the nature of lifestyle content in general, the line between personal life and work is very blurred anyway. Because what exactly does work-life balance look like when your life is your work?
I'm going to de-influence you on influencing from an ex-influencer while doing my makeup right now. I had a food account or like a wellness account where I posted all different recipes and a lot of...
That's crazy. Look at the inception going on right here. She's making a video, doing her makeup, influencing, talking about being an ex-influencer. Crafty.
about my healthy lifestyle, what that looked like for me, and all the things an influencer does. I started posting about my life. It got to the point where my account got a lot of traction and I started to be able to make a full-time salary as an influencer. And back then, like, I was working a corporate job and, you know, having a side income that was almost double the amount of my corporate job was just unbelievable at age 25. I didn't know what was going on. This was amazing for a really long time. And I was like, wow, this feels crazy. Making money, it's easy, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's not affecting me that much. Wrong. So my mind started to constantly think about when I was going to get the next shot of content. Okay. And it wasn't that I had a ton of content to shoot, right? Because with the amount of content you need to get for a brand and for your platform, it doesn't seem like much. But what I noticed was it was more so the mental chatter in my own mind regarding, should I have taken a photo there? Am I taking too many photos? Are people judging me? You know, it was just like so exhausting. And honestly, it just became consuming. And I started to notice how
I can't even lie. It does get that way. Like every time I'm watching a video, I always think, should I make a video on this or should I make a reaction or whatever? But I mean, that happens in life without being a content creator anyway. Ever since we got phones or cameras on our phones, every time we'll be like, I should have taken a picture of that. I didn't document the moment. Like, we do it anyway. Might as well get some bread for it, bro.
I was not present and I was starting to overanalyze on so many things and so many things about my everyday life because I was sharing my entire life at this point became about getting it on film. And I hated it. I hated it. I then started to talk about this in therapy and I realized that, like, as great as it is, the perks of being an influencer, it is wonderful, but you are trading in the mental chatter of filming your everyday life that for me just was not worth it.
And when your life is the product, it becomes a lot more difficult for you to keep anything for yourself. We've definitely seen this issue when it comes to influencers who share their relationships. You know, a lot of the time people start asking questions when they start seeing rings missing or they start seeing someone isn't appearing as much in the other person's content. Naturally, when this happens, people start demanding explanations, and a simple "we broke up" or "we're not together anymore" is just not going to cut it. People want all the details, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly. And I definitely think it's within these kinds of moments that a lot of influencers realize that this job isn't as carefree or as straightforward and easy as they might have expected it to be. Because centering yourself as the product of your content can definitely become very emotionally exhausting over time.
I quit social media full-time, got a 9-to-5, and I'm the happiest I've been in a very long time. Let's talk about it. Social media is an easy job. Like, the work part, so easy, but the mental toll, it is brutal. You're constantly performing, every moment has content potential. When something flops, you take it personally and you start to question your worth. Hate comments, imposter syndrome, burnout, it all builds. You can go from feeling on top of the world to invisible overnight. There is no boundary between work and life when you are your brand. The burnout doesn't crash down all at once, it sneaks in. Suddenly, filming feels heavy, posting feels forced, scrolling feels exhausting. You're essentially stuck in survival mode because your brain is always just on. Stepping away saved me. The 9-to-5 gave me structure, boundaries, and just mental quiet.
Okay, so that makes me think. I get what she's saying, and about being a content creator takes a toll on you, and you constantly pressured to, you know, keep working and working and working. But isn't that how it is at a 9-to-5 anyway? That's how I felt at my job. Every day when I go to sleep, I got to think about, got to go back, got to clock in tomorrow. Every day. And then when I'm at work, I don't even know what to expect. Who knows what's going to happen at the job? At least doing content, making your own content, you could at least know, you can plan ahead for what you're going to do at least. And then she mentioned feeling on top of the world one day and then, you know, feeling at the bottom the next day. That happened to me at my corporate job. I'll be doing good, outperforming everybody. And then out of nowhere, just because, you know, a higher up or a manager decided they're having a bad day, they come to me with some notice of, you know, some issue or something like that. At any time, it was happening to everybody in my company. All of my coworkers. You never know what to expect. One day you think you're doing great. Shoot, one day I thought I was doing great. The next day I got laid off and replaced by AI. So what's really the difference? The way I see it, doing content creation and being a YouTuber and things like that, I'm already having to put in work every single day, constantly. And the more actually in YouTube and content creation, the more work that I put in, the better results that I'll see. At a corporate job, it's not always like that, man. It's not always like that. I saw some coworkers of mine, they were putting in so much extra work. I felt sorry for them because they got any recognition for it. And then the one I specifically have in my mind, they let them go. They got a whole family to provide for. They got let go and they were putting in all that work. So I've seen it. So at that point, if you're trying to get some job security, I mean, if there's not much job security in the corporate world, then who's to say any job really has it? At this point, you might as well have at least a little bit more fun and flexibility with the work that you're putting in every single day instead of just being at the hands of someone else. But that's just the way I see it. But, you know, having a 9-to-5, it is cushy and, you know, at least until they fire you or let you go or replace you with AI, at least it is a guaranteed check. You know when you're going to get this money and how much, and you can plan ahead accordingly. So there's pros and cons.
Something that many people might not even expect is that for some people, working for yourself really isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Many people find themselves unexpectedly missing the structure and the routine that comes with having a normal 9-to-5 job.
The more freedom I have,
Make
the
it
less
yourself.
I get done. Crazy, I know. Maybe it's my ADHD, maybe it's just the way I'm wired, but unlimited time is paralyzing. When it's all up to me, when to work, what I do, how much I'm supposed to do, I spiral, I overthink, I procrastinate, and I start 5 things and finish none. Structure gives me rhythm and it gives me peace. Knowing I have set hours and clear expectations lets me move again. My brain, I just need that. And let's not forget about the loneliness that comes with full-time content creation. It's incredibly isolating. It's just you, your camera, and a never-ending to-do list. No coworkers, no built-in community, no one to bounce off ideas to or vent to. And since starting my 9-to-5, I've felt more connected, grounded, supported in 1 week than I have months of doing full-time content creation. People romanticize freedom, as you should. But for me, routine, structure, and human connection is true freedom for me.
Yes, I do absolutely think that.
I know I'm yapping a lot, but as far as the structure and having too much freedom is like a curse or whatever she said, bro, just make it yourself. Make the structure. You know how beneficial it is to write down your schedule? If you want to make a schedule, write it down. The only difference is somebody else wrote it down for you, bro. So if you have to, you know, if you have a personality type that has to be forced to do things at a certain time by somebody else, then by all means, go ahead. But if you want, just make it yourself and you can have it. Stick to your own things. And trust me, it's a lot more fulfilling when you stick to what you said you were going to do instead of sticking to what somebody else said that you needed to do. It's a lot more fulfilling if you actually do it. It is harder, but it's a lot more fulfilling.
You have to consider your personality type when you decide whether or not being self-employed is for you. If you are someone who really enjoys social interactions, you enjoy having a team and colleagues, then I think you might be quite surprised by how isolating this job can be. And so I do think that you need to be someone who's okay with that in order to actually enjoy it. In my personal opinion, I think content creation is probably best suited for people who like to pick and choose when they want to be social. Because for more introverted people like myself, I personally didn't enjoy the pressure to perform socially with colleagues at work. I'm not really much of a talker, which might be shocking to hear because I don't shut up on here, but genuinely, I actually am quite introverted. I like to keep myself to myself. And when you're in a work environment with colleagues, that doesn't necessarily work for you. So you kind of have to be social with people. You kind of have to chat with them. People are going to invite you out on Fridays. And you don't want to be that person who's always saying no and keeping too much to themselves, because that's how then people start perceiving you as rude or start thinking that you're not actively trying to be part of the team. So for me, I found that I had to actively try and perform as a more social person in workplace environments to try and avoid all of that. And I found it really draining. So I prefer working in a job where I can pick and choose when to be social. I also do think what she said in her video about people over romanticizing self-employment is very, very true. A lot of people romanticize self-employment because all they're thinking about in that moment is the amount of freedom that they're going to get. But they don't really think too much about the amount of responsibility that also comes with it. And I think it's one of those things that you can't really fully anticipate until you actually have to do it. Because I know people who've started doing content creation, have gone full time, and when they first started making videos, they had a job. And then they thought that once they quit their job and they were doing content creation full time, they would be so much more productive. They'd have more time to make videos. But what they actually found was that they actually made less content when they were fully self-employed and no longer had the job. Because once the job had gone, the structure and the routine that came along with it that actually was good for their productivity also went with the job. Because I think if we're honest with ourselves, self-employment is not really something that most people can do, just simply because it's not something that you're really taught how to do. For most young adults,
which is a major problem. They need to teach you how to make money in schools instead of freaking A plus B equals C. Even though it's good to know that too. But teach people how to make some money, man.
Most of your life has been organized for you, whether it was your parents, your teachers, or your employers.
That's
Most
a
of your
whole
life
nother
has
video.
been structured by the adults around you. So when you suddenly get given all of this freedom to fully organize and handle your own time, for a lot of people, it's very overwhelming and actually very paralyzing because they don't really know what to do or where to start. And this is something that you see across the board when it comes to self-employment. It's not just content creators. Whether it's freelancers, small business owners, or creators, a lot of people discuss how when they fully became self-employed, they weren't fully prepared for the amount of discipline that was actually required in order for them to be able to successfully maintain what they were doing.
Freelancing wasn't for me, so I went back to a 9-to-5. I met so many incredible people, I grew my network from the ground up, and I gained skills and experience that I know that I would only be able to get through self-employment. But like everything in life, it has its cons, and for me, they really affected me to the point of realizing that freelancing just wasn't for me. But if there's one thing I took from freelancing is that in order to be a successful freelancer, you have to have discipline. And discipline is so important because it will allow you to get things done no matter the circumstances. And this is so vital because as a freelancer, no one is going to tell you what to do. And no matter what, you have to get the work done so that you can get your invoices paid. And while this skill improves over time with practice, it can be challenging and may take a long time to master. So my number one advice to anyone looking to go into freelancing, make sure you master the skill of discipline, as this will be one of the key things you need to be a successful freelancer.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with that. Doing your own thing and having your own business, it does take a lot of discipline. And you need discipline to really succeed in anything. That's why the way I see it, at the end of the day, do what you want to do, whichever route you want to go, 9-to-5 or self-employment, but you're going to need discipline either way. And it's really about whether or not you have to be forced to be disciplined in fear of losing your job, or you force yourself to do it in hopes that you maintain your career that you built for yourself. And, I totally choose the latter. But I could just have that type of personality for most of my life. Since I was like 14, I've been selling beats online, beats and audio mixing, mastering, all that type of stuff. I'm an audio engineer. And that, I was making money in high school off of that. I paid for college with that. And so most of my life, that's how I got by. That's how I made money. So that's what I did. So maybe that's just a part of who I am. And that's why I prefer to have it that way rather than, a typical 9-to-5. But even if you take it that way, you can also be self-employed and just treat it like a 9-to-5. When people say be your own boss, don't be a terrible boss. Like, what do you mean? Don't be a bad boss to yourself. Enforce the rules. Force yourself to wake up, clock in the morning, and clock out when it's time to clock out, and work from that hour to that hour. Whatever you set yourself, you are able to set your own rules, but stand by them. And I think that's probably a big issue with a lot of people that want to be self-employed. They kind of get into it, maybe get a little far in it, and then they realize I'm not disciplined enough. I need somebody to tell me what to do. Like, if that's what you need, bro, then go for it. But it's, like I said earlier, it's a lot more fulfilling if you tell yourself to do something and you actually do it. It feels much better. You can reward yourself better. At a corporate job, or at least at my old corporate job, you do the work that they told you to do, and you're not going to get any special recognition for it. Basically, all it is make sure you get this done or else you're fired. Not if you do this, we're going to be like, hey, good job, man. And sometimes if you really, really outperform, you know, going above and beyond, then they'll be like, hey, nice job. But I didn't see any bonuses. I didn't see anything special. I did have one manager. She was really nice. She actually sent me gifts from her own pocket when I did good. But she's just cool. We're still, you know, friends to this day. But yeah, at that point, just, it really depends on what you want to do. I'm not sure. I haven't even heard about people wanting to go back to their 9-to-5s recently until this. So this was pretty interesting to see. But, you know, let me know what you want to do. What do you want to do? Would you prefer a 9-to-5, or would you prefer to do your own thing, be self-employed, start a business, be a content creator, whatever? Which one do you prefer? And really, how much discipline do you think it will take? And the biggest question is, do you think you'd be able to actually be disciplining yourself enough to be self-employed, to be your own boss? Just really think about it and answer it honestly. Do you really think you're able to do it? Because I'm curious to see how many people really can do that, or at least believe they can. Really interesting video, man. Really interesting video. I like Patient Zena's stuff, man. I'm already subscribed to her. I'm gonna make sure to like the video as well. But yeah, that's the video, y'all. Appreciate y'all if you stuck with me this whole time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I know we forget we can even press them buttons, but it really helps when you do. So, you know, interact with me. And then after this, go watch another YouTube video. Enjoy your time, man. Enjoy your time. But yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching. And as always, peace up, stay blessed. See you.